Like, I started stand-up comedy literally because, like I said, Lewis convinced me to do it. But when I would go to comedy clubs and I was like 23 and I would just watch stand-up comedians and I just thought it was the most beautiful thing. It's just like so romantic and like you just get up on stage with nothing except your mind, and then you just like bring laughter to a room full of people. It's just like the most beautiful thing.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Robert Patton Global Podcast. I am here with the libertarian Tupac himself, Dave Smith.
What's up, brother?
We're here at Skankfest, and I really appreciate you taking the time to hang out with me and have a little chat.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
On my Rinky-Dink podcast, Robert Patton Global. You are one of the legends that we promote and sponsor. Your podcast, Part of the Problem. It's probably my favorite podcast.
Oh, thank you so much.
I listen to everyone, and I miss a couple, I guess, but because you do like 3 a week.
I do.
But
not this week, though, unfortunately. This week I fell all behind because Skankfest has been crazy. But yeah, no, I'm very appreciative of you guys being such a long-time supporter of us. I believe you're my longest running advertiser.
Wow.
So I'd have to have someone double check me on that, but I'm pretty sure you are. And it's a great product. I'm wearing them right now.
I am too. And so like, I typically sponsor people that we're fans of, so it's like a win-win.
Yeah, dude, there's something really beautiful about business. Like, there's, absent like government involvement, because then it gets kind of, fucked up if you're like government contracts or something like that. But there's something really beautiful about every single level of business. Like down to like, I remember when I was like 10, I guess it was like my first job, not technically a job, but in Brooklyn, we used to always the kids would do is you offered to shovel snow during the winter. And you could go, they give you like $5 or whatever. And like in the early 90s, that was actually something to a kid. And you just shovel the snow. And it's like this thing where you're just kind of like, you're just like going around being useful. And as a 10-year-old, you're pretty rarely useful to anyone, Yeah. And you're like, and then you get money for it. And like every level, and it's just cool that, like we do this like this alternative podcast thing that just kind of became a thing with the internet. And it's like, oh, it doesn't have to be on TV anymore. Now it can just be over here on the internet. And then like, you can just find companies who are like, hey, I really like the thing you're doing. And then you're like, oh, well, I can get you in front of all these eyeballs. And like, we can both help each other. I don't know. There's something really beautiful about it to me.
It is a win-win.
Man, that was a gay way to start this podcast. I apologize.
That's like capitalism at its finest, I guess. And the this for that, bartering.
Yeah.
And I just I'm getting... I'm talking to you right now, which is also pretty cool. It's opened a lot of doors to people I'm fans of, and you get paid, we get paid, the audience gets a benefit, and we deliver a really good product. I mean, I don't even really want to talk about the product, but I'm going to get into one thing, because this guy, he posted a video 7 years ago. Never paid him, never met him. He's out of the UK talking about SHEATH, and gave us a decent review. Well, this week he posted another video 7 years later, and he's like, I still got the same pair. They're still holding up. And and so we're very fortunate as a company to have a good manufacturer. Yeah. And so, cause that was kind of,
well, even like everything you guys make is quality. I mean, I wouldn't just say this for that. Like the shirts you wear, you put them on and you're like, oh, this is like a nice shirt. It feels good. The underwear is like, oh, this feels really good. And there is also an element to capitalism. And it's not that it's perfect. Like there are people who make shitty products, there are scams and stuff like that, but there is a tendency to weed that out. You know what I mean? You figure that out pretty fast. Like when you're making shit, after a while, people are like, oh, I'm not going to buy that again. Exactly. It's crappy. And that's one of the reasons why, I think you guys do well, because it is quality shit.
Yeah, we're really lucky. The universe is working with us on this one, because I'm not the brightest, smartest, most talented of anything. I'm very average on many levels, but I have a big heart and just like that determination. And when you put your mind to something, you can really change the world in a lot of ways. And you're doing that, but it started with like, how did it start with you and Lewis and Big J?
Well, I knew Lewis since I was a kid. I think I was like 18 or 19 when I met Lewis, and I'm 40 now, so I've known Lewis for a long time. And he was dating one of my sister's friends. Whoa. That's how I first met him. And then we just became friends, and we just started hanging out. And then like a few years later, we got an apartment. We were roommates for years, and me and Louis were just like brothers, but like kind of right away. And he was selling comedy club tickets for this company, New Genesis. And then he left and started his own company selling like he ran street teams, which you could just imagine. If you just know, he was like, I'm not even exaggerating when I say Louis was the Michael Jordan of selling comedy club tickets on the street.
He's hungry.
He was the best who's ever done it at the worst thing, to be great at. But he was like you could imagine that, like just how good Louis was at just stopping, chatting people up. It was like something to behold. And so he started a company doing that, and then he started producing comedy shows, and he started hosting them, and then he started being a comedian, trying to start being a comedian.
Wow.
And then he just convinced me to do it. I started coming to the shows and hanging out, and I just loved stand up. And he was like, "Dude, you're like the funniest person I know. Like, you should fucking just do this." And so then we started it, and then years into it, when the podcast thing kind of first started becoming a thing, he was like, "We should do it." Like him and Jay were like best friends. Like we just always hung out together. And then we just Bobby Kelly had like some old equipment. Like he got newer equipment, and then he just gave Louis like the old mics that he had. And so we were like, okay, we got equipment. And then we started doing it in Louis and Beatrice's living room in their 1-bedroom apartment.
Wow.
And we just recorded it out of there for an audience of no one.
Yeah.
For quite a while.
That's what this is going to be.
Yeah, that's okay.
But you'll probably bring a few more numbers. What were you doing before you were doing comedy?
I was just being a fucking shithead. I don't know. I was, it wasn't like, I started when I was like 23, I think. And I dropped out of college when I was 20, maybe. So it was just like 3 years of like just working like bullshit jobs and just fucking being a pothead and hanging out with my friends in Brooklyn and shit. And like, sounds like basically nothing.
Yeah, that sounds like my beginnings. I was like not a janitor, but I worked at a office building as a maintenance engineer, changing light bulbs, and I had the various fast food jobs. And
they give you nice sounding titles for bullshit jobs, don't they? Or I was a maintenance engineer. You go, so you were designing computer systems for maintenance, and you're like, no, the light bulb went out, got to change it.
I shocked myself changing one of the ballasts. I remember that, and it's very glamorous. Come a long way, but we all start at the bottom. It's like these kids these days want to start off as a CEO.
Yeah,
you got to put in work, or I want to be a YouTube, millionaire or whatever. And I guess that's fine, but people still got to make shit.
Yeah, and there are definitely people who have like sad stories and people who are in bad situations. We're all kind of like fortunate, you know what I mean, to have not had some wrong turn or bad, act of bad luck happens. We wouldn't be where we are. But I do just have very little sympathy for people who just kind of complain about being at the bottom, particularly like in our society where there's just so many. There's so much opportunity around you everywhere. And, like people, they have this tendency to like, it's a very immature tendency to look at a finished product and kind of be like, take that as a given. Almost like, yeah, like I hear people say that to me sometimes. It would be like, you're like, whatever, you say that you don't have sympathy for those people, but it's like, whatever, dude, you get to just do what you love and make like tons of money and like have a fun job and everything. I'm like, yeah, I do. After 15 years of fucking misery and struggling and being dead broke and being fucking evicted from apartments and fucking, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, yeah, because I put 15 years into that. Now I get the benefits of that. But there'll be like these, like, and particularly with, just like, it's not their fault. It's like they're all fucking propagandized with this shit, but particularly for like the Generation Z or whatever, they just all come into it. Their whole mind state is grievances. Everything that's wrong, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everything that's sexist or racist or oppressive or ableist or trans this. And you're like, look, I'm not even saying none of that exists, but I just don't, like, zoom out for a second. The starting point of humanity is we live in the fucking woods,
yeah,
and the man goes and chases a fucking animal while the woman gives birth with no medical, like technology. Okay.
Yeah.
We inherited this.
Yes.
Because for thousands of years, people worked their fingers to the bones to fucking get us to this point. So how would you come into this and go, I've got a grievance with this whole system? It's like, okay, we could always be improving it, but like, don't you at least go like, hey, fucking thank God. Dude, my fucking baby boy was born with a heart condition that if this happened if when my mother was born, she had this heart condition, she dies.
Yeah.
That's it. If I'm alive in the 1960s and 1970s, I have a dead child. But because I'm alive in 2021, he's fine. I have this perfect little boy.
It's a miracle.
You know what I mean? Like, forget anything else that you're saying. Like, what else really matters? Like, how lucky are we for that?
It's amazing. And the American dream is still alive. And I'm an example of that. You're an example of that. But I mean, a lot of immigrants moved to America over the last 20 years and forever. And they outwork our existing population. They make tons of money and do really well for themselves. You can do well for yourself. You just got to, you definitely have to work hard.
Yeah.
Do you set like goals or intentions? Are you into self-help shit?
No, not really. I mean, I'm like I think I'm like it sounds so like pretentious to say, but like I'm an artist. Like that's my like mindset, and I've always been that way. I'm horrible on the business end. I started stand-up comedy literally because, like I said, Lewis convinced me to do it. But when I would go to comedy clubs and I was like 23, and I would just watch stand-up comedians, and I just thought it was the most beautiful thing. It's just like so romantic and like you just get up on stage with nothing except your mind, and then you just like bring laughter to a room full of people. It's just like the most beautiful thing. And I was like, I'm gonna do that, and then it was just like I fell in love with it, and I was like, I'm just gonna do that. There was never any like plan of like how do I get to the next level of it. I was like, I just want to get really good at it. And then the same thing with like libertarianism. I just fucking heard Ron Paul speaking, and I was like, yo, that's really fascinating. And I got obsessed with it, and I just read everything. I've just obsessively I've consumed like every piece of libertarian literature. Wow. And like I just thought the ideas were so beautiful. So then I was just like, I got to talk about this shit, and that's when I started Part of the Problem. It was just like I got to talk about this, and so there's never really been any like I don't really have like a plan. I go like I want to get on as many big shows as I can, and I want to do a great job. When like if that's a stand-up show, I want to be hilarious. If that's like a podcast where we're talking about serious things, I want to like really explain it in an on-point way, and then level up at every opportunity you get. And so that's just kind of how I do it. I don't do anything else at this point in my life. I used to be like a big party guy and shit, but I'm raising my kids, I'm loving my wife, and then I'm working. And that's pretty much all I do. Maybe squeeze a vacation in there once in a while.
Yeah. I'm wanting to go on a vacation here. We keep talking about it. It's been years. Do you do a lot of the prep? Because everyone sees, they see the finished product. They see you talking intelligently on Rogan or your own podcast or wherever. You've been on all of the biggest podcasts. I like PBD right now.
Yeah, it's great. Love that guy.
But it looks like you just wake up out of bed and you're spitting this knowledge, but I imagine there's a lot more work that goes into it.
Well, so I kind of have so in those years, around I'd say from late 2007 to maybe 2013, those 5 years is I really got obsessed with reading all of the libertarian literature and all of the philosophy stuff. So I kind of have that foundation. I know that stuff very well. And then what Part of the Problem ultimately became was a current event show, a show about what's going on in the country now, and so I can see what's going on with the current events and then have that foundation to understand it. But so I keep up with the news, I'm pretty on top of that. But I would do that even if I wasn't doing the podcast, just because I'm so interested and I just find the whole thing very interesting.
So fascinating.
So I'm always on top of it, and then they'll just be, the things kind of always just present themselves like there's a story. It's like, okay, yeah, this is what we got to talk about. This is what we got to talk about. And then Rob he's like a beast himself too. So then we just basically like shoot text back and forth, me, him, and Brian, who's my producer.
Yeah.
And we'll find, like stories, and then we're just, it's always like almost pretty obvious. Yeah, these are the ones we got to talk about.
But you're just like, I'm going to talk about this, and then your brain is good enough to where you can intertwine your foundational knowledge with the current event, and then kind of synthesize everything and come up with.
Well, because it all just makes sense. It's kind of easy in a way because like I'm just lucky that I read all the right people to read. Like I happened to fall down the right rabbit hole, which is like Ron Paul, Murray Rothbard, Ludwig von Mises, Hans Hermann Hoppe, Tom Woods, Jeff Dice, Lou Rockwell. Like those are the guys. And then you read them, and it's not like, from my perspective, it's not like an opinion. Like these guys are objectively correct. They're describing the world the way the world actually works. So when you see the way things actually work, and then you're like, well, here's an example of how it's going down right now. It's just very easy to be like, oh, I see what they're doing. It's almost like if you're a magician and you see another magician doing a trick that it's just very easy right away to be like, no, I know it's in his sleeve. Like that's what's going on here. So it's a pretty simple thing, really. And then I'm pretty good with like I have pretty good recall. So like if I read shit, I tend to remember it.
That's what I'm saying.
Not always,
your attention. It seems pretty like your photographic memory type.
I don't know. I know people who have much better than me. But and it definitely got better when I stopped smoking pot. I tend to remember. There'll be times that I kind of like forget things and I have to go brush up on them. Like they'll be like, what was this 2012, 2013? Like was Gaddafi overthrown? It was 2010, I think. It's like I know people like Scott Horton, who's like another level of like that motherfucker knows every name. He knows like the middle names of every freaking leader in the last 200 years. But I tend to remember the stuff, so I'm able to like if someone brings something up, I'll remember the detail
that
about
helps
what it was
when you're trying to have a conversation about like the world history of politics and everything. It's such a vast amount of information. My brain is just like, is it making money? No. Okay, so maybe discard that for now and sell some underwear. So one interesting thing, and I don't know how you're going to feel about this, but I know a guy, his name is Mike Brancatelli.
Oh, yeah, my old co-host.
Yeah. So I actually met him. He lives in Denver. He was a shaman at a retreat I went to, and he had gone to like Brazil or Peru or whatever and did ayahuasca.
Yeah, he got real into that stuff.
Yeah, and he just changed his whole life, and it's just like kind of a small world where I met him, and then I met Robbie, and Robbie, I call him the new Mike or whatever, but obviously it's been forever at this point. But it's just, isn't that interesting how you started it with him and then he took off and then Robbie comes on or whatever, but it seems to have blown up pretty big.
Yeah, well, it really blew. Brancatelli was there it started to take off. He was still there when it started to become a big thing. Brancatelli was the guy who fucking convinced me I had started part of the problem and then I stopped doing it for a little bit. And Brancatelli was like, I don't know how he had listened to the show, and he was like a big fan of mine, and we were doing stand up together. And he was really funny. He had like a knack for it, but he just didn't like dive into it. He was always distracted with like a lot of different things he was doing. But he was the one. He convinced me. He was like, dude, you have to bring that podcast back. Like he was like, you're the guy. You're the voice for this shit. And I was like, okay, I'll do it if you do it with me. Nice. And so we started doing it. And then we just kind of went in different directions. And I think he was figuring out some whole other stuff, in his life. And then so he left the show, and then Rob came in, and then the show really started taking off after it was me and Rob. And we just had like, me and Rob just, we were real good friends before that. We just had like a good dynamic. And Rob's like, Rob's really fucking smart and really knows his shit. He's a really funny comic, so he compliments me very well.
Yeah, he lets you talk and stuff and just get all your shit. He's a great co-host.
Yeah.
I love him. He's so good to us. Robbie the Fire, check him out. You are kind of like, I think you were going to say the god. You might have been say the guy, but to
the god? No,
well, you
I
said
wouldn't.
Brancatelli said, "You're the guy."
No, the guy. I don't
the guy.
No, I believe his exact quote was he said, "You're the voice of a generation," which I was like, all right,
you are.
Settle down,
dude. Well, like everyone was getting super excited when you were talking about running.
Yeah, there were people who were excited about that. 2028. That's the new plan.
That's yeah. You're gonna prep yourself a little bit more. I have a premonition or idea of why you wouldn't necessarily want to run. You have a family, the wife, the kids. You're part of Legion and Skanks, and a lot of sound bites probably would not be flattering.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, the idea is utterly ridiculous on so many levels. It's a really sad comment on the state of the liberty movement that I am the guy who everyone's like, you should be our presidential candidate, and you're like, I am a fucking like a filthy comedian, and I have absolutely no. The only thing is that I'm just really good at explaining it.
Yeah.
And so I'm hopefully we get much better people. But I think honestly, like I understand why people wanted me to do it, but I think my role is what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
Like I think that's what I should be doing.
Tucker of libertarianism.
Yeah, with my own version of that, whatever. You know, but like I think I'm the guy who's supposed to go on Rogan's podcast and explain this shit. You know what I mean? Like I think that's what I'm good at. And also it's just like in a selfish way, but I really love my life, and I have like my fucking dream job. I love what I do. It's just like I love doing stand-up comedy. I love just fucking being jackasses with my best friends who are the most hilarious people in the world. And I love talking shit about politics. I just love doing all that. And I got a beautiful wife and 2 beautiful little kids. And my schedule, I work a lot, but my schedule is very like flexible. So I get to spend a ton of time with my kids. I don't know. I just kind of want to keep doing that.
Yeah, I mean, people want Rogan to run for president, Joe
Rogan has the greatest life ever.
I know.
Why do you want to make him miserable?
Yeah. Well, and it is, if you don't want to do it, obviously you need to be kind of called to that. But the type of people that are called to that tend to be like these narcissists or whatever.
That's the conundrum of rulers. I shouldn't say leaders, but rulers, is that you're like anyone who you would actually want to have the amount of power that people like that Washington D.C. has over the world. Anyone who you'd want to be in that position would not want to be in that position.
Yeah,
they'd have no interest in it, and that's why you get the people who you get. Just the most fucking narcissistic fucking people in the world. Can you even imagine, like, is it crazy, like, to be a politician, you have to, like, give a speech about how great you are? Like, they all have to do that. You have to imagine sitting down and giving a speech about how wonderful, I fixed the economy, and I fixed healthcare, and I did this, and I did that. Like, who the fuck else talks about themselves that way? You know what I mean? Like, it's just how great I am. Yeah. And that's what the job is. To just be this fucking power-hungry narcissist.
Yeah. I'm seeing 2 people that I'm liking, which is Vivek and RFK, and I feel like they're not going to probably make it.
Well, they definitely got uphill battles. I like those guys. I've had them both on my podcast. There's definitely some areas that I disagree with them pretty strongly. But they're both very interesting campaigns, particularly the RFK campaign is just really, really fascinating thing. It's like, it feels like it's got this power about it because it's almost like something like written out of a novel. You know what I mean? Like what? Like
Kennedy?
Bobby Kennedy's son has now returned to try to reclaim the Democratic Party, and he's like such a repudiation of everything the Democrats stand for.
Now,
like he's like, we shouldn't be arming Ukraine. And that vaccine they forced on you was fucking horrible, and like might have made you, might have injured a lot of people. And there's something about, I just find him to be, he's a very impressive guy. He's very smart, and he's the fact that he's going on a national speaking tour and he can't speak and it's working is like pretty unbelievable. Like the guy is so interesting that you can get past how brutal it is to listen to him and actually be interested in listening to him.
He's very well, educated. And it was funny, I was listening to Rogan, I think, and Rogan was recommending the job, the book, The Real Anthony Fauci.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was like Brian Simpson or something. And he was like, I listened to my books. Did he do the audio version? And Rogan was like, no, he didn't do the audio version. It's like, good, because I couldn't listen to that shit. But what he's saying is, you know, it's ringing true, like with me, and same thing with Vivek. My mom, it was funny, about 6 months ago, my mom was like, there's this new guy, Vivek, he's amazing. And she's a Trump supporter. And I really liked Trump up like 2015, 2016. And my only issue with him was, and this is going to sound horrible probably, but it's because his stance on China, because I work with China and I love them. And they do a really good job at manufacturing. They've been doing it for quite a few years now. And if, you know, everybody wants stuff to be made in America, but you try manufacturing something in America.
They're all the right wingers are just awful on China, man. It's their like biggest Achilles heel. Even when they're smart about some of this other shit, or they're onto it, they're just so bad on China. It's ridiculous, and the amount of fear. What's crazy to me is how much it like is successful. I mean, I remember when I was on Tim Pool's show, and I think it was Ian who said it. And he was just like, I was talking about something about how America, you know, like about how, like, think about the position really of being anti-war is I'm like, hey, you know how our federal government can't go 6 months without going on a mass murder campaign in some fucking third world country that poses absolutely no threat to us? You know how we do that all the time? That's bad. We shouldn't do that. Like, we should bring our fucking troops home. If to have a military, they could protect our borders from attacks. They don't need to fucking be over in the middle of fucking, you know, like everywhere. Whatever the fucking situation between fucking Syria and Iran does not require us to drop explosives on children, you know? And they're like, yeah, but you know, you bring all the troops home, and then, you know, China invades America. And I was like, you see China invading America? Like, take me through this. Like, just take me through this step by step. China, they get on their boats from 7,000 miles away, and they come to attack the homeland of the country with the most powerful military in the history of the world and the highest rate of gun ownership amongst its citizens. We would pick them off. Not to mention we also have, you know, a stockpile of a few thousand H-bombs that we fucking just...
Yeah.
Anyway, but it's all just ridiculous fantasy. You know, it's like, and that right-wingers have this thing where there's always got to be a fantasy of some imminent attack that is so absurd. You know, like it was like in 2002, it was like, dude, Saddam Hussein has this weapon that he doesn't have, and he's about to give it to this terrorist he's not friends with, and they're about to drop it on Kansas. Yeah. Are you scared, Grandma? Well, we better go kill some Iraqi children, you know? And the truth is that China it poses absolutely no military threat to us. They're not an expansionist country. They're for all the talk of them taking over Taiwan, they could do it anytime they wanted to, and they haven't. We've been a lot more militarily aggressive than either Russia or China in the last 20 years.
100%.
And trade with China has been like the greatest thing that's ever happened in the history of the world. This never comes up, but literally the greatest thing that's ever happened in the history of the world has happened over the last 30 years, as over 1 billion people have been pulled out of extreme poverty. Mm-hmm. And that's happened all in China and some in India, I think, too. And it's all because we fucking trade with them.
Yeah.
It's all because of fucking trade. Goods cross borders, armies don't have to, or whatever the old saying is, you know? So it's like, if you don't want to fucking have another stupid fucking war, and this one that could go nuclear, then fucking let's keep letting China make shit for us.
Yeah, let's play the game of world economic power. It doesn't have to be about like military power. If we want to, let's make it a challenge, like to stay ahead of them, and or you know, and it doesn't have to be this war. They're trying to beat us as the superpower and like by economic standards. And we went through our industrial revolution. We did all the manufacturing here, and it got us to the point where now we're a service economy, and they're going to get to the point where they're outsourcing all their shit at some point. But it's going in like levels, or, you know, like there's a word that I'm trying to think of, but we all have to go through. It's like getting a job at McDonald's when you're 16.
Yeah.
You know, they're at that level of growth, and they're going to outgrow that, and they're going to be the CEO or whatever at some point.
Well, it's also, you know, like people, so what ends up happening is that people kind of blame they blame the outsourcing of our old jobs on why our economy is so fucked up here. But really, it's just like a false, like it's a culprit that's not right. What's the term I'm looking for? A scapegoat. The truth is that the Washington, D.C., the federal government of the United States spends $6 trillion a year. It's the biggest organization in the history of the world. There's nothing close to it. And that money is all extracted from the American people and then given to like the politically connected class. And that's why the middle of this country has been in stagnation economically. But in their minds, it's very easy to be like, well, there used to be a factory here and now that factory's in China. So if we didn't let that factory go to China, that factory would still be here. But the truth is that we'd actually be substantially poorer. Like if the government was doing the same thing and that factory had stayed here, you'd be worse off than you are now. You're actually made wealthier by the fact that it's being done in a more cost-effective way, and now consumer goods are cheaper than they otherwise would have been. Yeah,
it's some kind of like law of economics where you have the thing made in the place where it's going to be made the most efficiently, and then we fucking make the cows or whatever, and like they do the grains, and because their land is ripe for that type of shit, or their people are really good at making stuff, and I don't even trust our citizens to make quality products.
Well, that's for sure. But I don't know. I find all this stuff so fascinating. That's why I got like so obsessed with like economists. But so like Bob Murphy puts it this way, which I think is a good way to like conceptualize it. Is he goes, if the argument is that they're dumping cheap goods on us, right? So if the argument is that that's hurting somehow because they're saying they come in and they undercut, what a business here would charge for it, so the good is now cheaper. So you're undercutting our cuts. Okay, so if you're saying that giving someone something for cheap makes them poorer, then you taken to its logical conclusion, you'd have to argue that giving it to us for free would really make us poorer.
Yeah.
But now look at the argument you've been reduced to. The argument is that if someone gave you stuff for free, you're poorer for that. Because it's just like, look at the other side of it. Yes, it's true. If China can produce something because they can pay their people far fucking less, and then they can charge less for it, and we have to pay our people more because they expect more money, and so they can't match that price. It's like, okay, yeah, that is bad for the producer over here, but who's that good for? The consumer over here, right? Yeah. And there's a whole lot more consumers than there are producers. And so people probably look over the last few years, you seen what fucking inflation's done? What rising prices has done? What does that do to fucking poor people? What does that do to working class people? It fucking drowns them. So the only way to help them is to get things cheaper so that they can afford them. And people, again, there's a thing that fucking leftists get really wrong. It's always like this, they look at like Walmart or something like that. I'm not saying there's no problems with Walmart, but you look at Walmart and they'll be like, they don't pay high enough wages, or they're a big corporation, or whatever. It's some problem. They kill the mom and pop shops. And it's like, fine. Look, even say that's true. Here's what Walmart does. Walmart goes into the poorest parts of America, the most rural, poor parts of America, and slashes prices compared to what the market rate is, 40%, 70% cheaper on silly little things like clothing for kids and food. Yeah. You know what I mean? It has been a lifesaver for poor people throughout this country, and yet like that just goes completely unacknowledged.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and it's like, and then from the people who claim to, and I think in some cases genuinely do, like care about poor people, and they're trying to help them. But you're like, but what do you? Look at this company is actually doing that. That's why they're so successful, because all those poor people keep going back there to shop for them. And that's also why the guy in China will take a job for fucking $2 a day, as insane as that sounds to us, because that was actually better than what his other option was.
Right.
And actually that's how you level up. That's how these billion people got pulled out of extreme poverty. They went from making $1.50 a day to making $5 a day, which seems crazy to us. But to them, that's a huge fucking difference.
Yeah, we're all just trying to like that 1% better, make your life better for your family, and do what you got to do. And people need to work. Everyone wants to like not work. I love working. You love your job.
Oh yeah.
What if you didn't have to do anything? That would be kind of like.
Yeah, it's like a weird. It's a thing that it's a very like it's an infantile way of thinking about the world. That it would be better if everything was just provided for me than if I went out and earned it. Yeah. And that is correct if you're 6 months old.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's the correct answer for a baby. is that everything should be provided for you and you shouldn't have to work for it. But as like adult human beings, you're going to live a miserable life. If that's like, you might think if someone just gave you $10 million and you never did anything for it, that you'd be happy, but you wouldn't.
No.
That's not like, that doesn't actually give you, like, we're creatures we're more than just like economic automatons. You know what I mean? Like, life is about meaning and purpose. And even in all work, there's meaning and purpose, like everything. Mm-hmm. So everything that's done that someone will pay you to do, because if someone's paying you to do it, it's producing something. And the goddamn civilization is a fucking miracle. You know what I mean? Such an underappreciated miracle. There's all this shit around us that we don't understand at all, and it just works. Like, there's electricity in this fucking building. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, we don't have to worry about fucking like freezing to death in the winter because like someone figured that out. And when you walk outside and you just see everything you see, it's all there because people are working to make it all happen. Yeah. And we're all like constantly in this world of like serving each other without even realizing it. You know, and it's just beautiful and complex and insane. It's insane that it all comes together and works. Like, knowing people, you would just be like, no, we'll all just be like shitting in the woods and fighting each other to death. We would never figure all this out. And somehow we did.
Every now and then, some like Elon Musk types, they're really, I mean, in lesser degrees, but, you know, come up with little trinkets and the fucking circuits or whatever, that constantly making these micro improvements over the course of thousands of years to get to the point where we are today. And I'm taking full advantage. I wouldn't be able to run this company the way I'm running it if the internet didn't exist.
Right.
Because it affords me reach to billions of potential customers instead of just like the ones in my town.
Yeah, and it's always like, it's like with all these things, I'm sure I'm guilty of this myself. I think it's we all are to some degree. Like, it's a natural human instinct to like look at the problems and take for granted what you have. But yeah, man, I mean, it's like people complain about like tech censorship, which is a really big problem. I complain about it a lot too. But like, you're also like, okay, look, man, my whole career is just, if it wasn't for the internet, I'm at a time where essentially, because of the climate, the political climate in this culture, there's no big corporation who would work with me. Like, that's just not happening. I would never get a television show on a network.
Why like Coca-Cola and those companies haven't gotten into podcasting bigger, or the UFC, which I'm trying to break into both of them, and I feel like I got in early with podcasting, but like you're reaching people who are really dedicated listeners to these shows, like, as opposed to I have to watch, ABC morning show, or because that's all that's on.
So it's all with big corporations. It's all about incentives, right? Big corporations are operating to make money. They're not fucking. Nothing has to do with like, they're like, the founder of Coca-Cola or the CEO of Coca-Cola or whatever isn't just like, I really care about these transgender kids. You know what I mean? Like, right. They're trying to get. And what's proof of that is that where else they advertise Coca-Cola? Saudi Arabia. You think they're putting up pride flags on their billboards in Saudi Arabia?
Right.
No, they're not, because that's not what makes them money, right? Yeah. So they put it up here. But then if you go to yourself and you look at, say, with any of these big corporations, if you go, okay, so let's say, here's an example, right? Tucker Carlson, when he was at Fox News, has the biggest show in cable news, by far, the biggest show. Literally, I think he might have had a show that was 4 times bigger than the audience. Might have been 4 or 5 times bigger than the CNN 8 p.m. hour. Couldn't get advertisers. No advertisers would advertise with him. Okay, it was running My Pillow commercials the entire fucking time. That's all he had on Tucker Carlson. It's like, how many fucking My Pillows can the audience buy? Like, even if like
I bought one, wasn't that great?
No, but I'm just saying. It's like you buy one and then you have it. Like, what are you fucking just lining your whole house with My Pillows watching Tucker Carlson? But so then you got to ask yourself. It's like, okay, so if you're telling me that there's a big corporation that will not advertise on the biggest show to get the most money, right? Then the answer is obviously that there's a bigger disincentive there than there is an incentive. That in their view, it will actually cost them more to be associated with Tucker Carlson and to be advertising on his show. And so there's basically 2 major factors involved in this. There's the one from the ground, and then there's the one from the top. Okay, so the ground is that left-wing activists are playing for keeps, and right-wing activists are LARPing. That's the fundamental truth in America. That when left-wing activists say they want to do something, they're serious about it. When they say they want fucking gay marriage to be legal, they're gonna get gay marriage. Like they're gonna fucking fight for that. When right-wingers say you'll never take our guns or something like that, a new gun control law comes in, and they take your guns. Because you're not actually ready to shoot at the fucking government, which, by the way, you shouldn't. But, because you're not going to win that fight. But it's all a LARP. I mean, I watched, all these fucking, right-wing militias and shit in this country. Look, in 2020, they shut down their churches, and they sat there and fucking took it. They did nothing. Okay? One college professor says maybe there's a difference between boys and girls, and left-wingers will swarm him. He will be fired that day because they will fucking show up and protest. And left-wingers, they will protest.
But they're not working.
They will boycott. That's right. Well, that's it. Right-wingers have families and jobs. And left-wingers have time on their hands.
And anger.
And so they know that the amount, and look, this dynamic is changing a little bit with the Bud Light shit and the Target shit. It seems like there's a little bit of a sea change, but the amount of pressure that left-wingers would put on Coca-Cola for advertising on Tucker Carlson's show is by orders of magnitude bigger than the amount of pressure right-wingers will put on Coca-Cola for not advertising on Tucker Carlson's show. There's no penalty for not doing it. There's a huge penalty for doing it. So that's the bottom one. And then the top one is all about fucking who controls capital and who's fucking, these companies are all desperately addicted to capital. And it's was it BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Streets? There's 3 companies that run everything. They run everything because they're connected to the fucking Federal Reserve banking complex, and then they get all of the and actually Vivek Ramaswamy wrote a bunch about this, but that the states governments which control the public sector pensions, right? So every single public sector job, everyone who has a government job, they all have pensions.
Cops, teachers,
and cops, teachers, fucking whatever it is, railroads, whatever the fuck, all of them, some hospitals, stuff like that. They all have pensions, right? And so now the state is in charge of where to invest these pensions. So the state is sitting on enormous, billions of dollars. There's millions of government employees, all this money. And so then the state will say, hey, we'll give it to you, BlackRock, but only if you invest in, the DEI companies with good diversity, equity, and inclusion scores. So these corporations must be woke, or they have no access to this capital. So that's this is where it all starts to make sense. You're like, oh yeah, that's why every corporation in America is taking a fight on issues that push 50% of America away from them. That why would it would seem so obvious, right? That it's just so obvious that if you're a giant company that's selling to Americans all across the political spectrum, and there was none of these perverse financial incentives, there was a free market. What would McDonald's opinion be on abortion? Nothing. We don't have an opinion on abortion, motherfucker. Whatever opinion I have, half the country hates my guts. This is what Michael Jordan said it best. People gave him shit for this. It was the greatest thing I ever he said when they were trying to get him to endorse some Democrat for Congress. It was at the height of Michael Jordan fame. And he was the first black congressional leader or something. I don't know. They were like, you got to do this for the black community, endorse this guy. And Michael Jordan goes, Republicans buy sneakers too. And it was a great fucking word, because that's how a businessman thinks. What the fuck you talking? I got to fucking sell sneakers to these kids too. I don't want, I
don't want to cut off.
And there's something beautiful about that in business. You're supposed to, politics is not supposed to be an all-consuming thing. You know what I mean? I know saying this as someone who's obsessively talks about
and
politics.
I'm into it too, and as a business owner, I have to toe the line a little bit, but I also feel like you could take a stance and really engage that other 50%, even though you're going to turn off 50%, those other 50% are going to be kind of more diehard for your brand, because they're never going to take your gun. SHEATHunderwear.com.
Well, it makes sense for some businesses. You know what I mean?
I don't know.
Well, I'm sure if you're making craft beer or something like that, then it makes sense to just be like, fuck these rednecks. You know what I mean? Because they're not drinking your shit anyway. But not these companies who all make money in the red part of America. It doesn't make any sense for them. And so without any of that shit, you can always just like follow the money, follow the incentives, and then it all becomes very obvious. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to me left-wingers don't see through that shit. It's crazy that like something kind of broke in the Obama years. It kind of like broke the left half of America. So much of them, and a lot of things went into that. We could talk about that for fucking 5 hours. But it's crazy that like I look at, because like I'm a Jewish kid from Brooklyn. I was raised by a single mom. My whole life is in a liberal area. Like those are my people. That's my whole family is liberal. Everyone I grew up with was liberal. You know what I mean? And so like I kind of know it. But then now I look at like some of these young kids, and it's like the culture's changed tremendously since then. But I just go like a whole bunch of left-wingers will be marching in like the gay pride parade, and you're sitting there, and the floats are coming out, and it's the Bank of America float, the fucking J.P. Morgan Chase float, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like you're sitting there, and you're like, that doesn't fucking like raise the hair on the back of your neck at all. Like that doesn't give you pause for a minute. Like I'm not saying any one of forget the cause that you believe in. Take for granted that that's correct. Everything that you're standing for is correct. How the fuck could all the big banks agree with you? Like what's going on here?
Right.
Do you think they really care? And and it's like it's just so obvious what happened, right? Like it's like they are buying you off.
They don't want you to focus on them.
They're buying you off, and for focusing on social issues.
Yeah, distract
because that's what they want you to focus on. They didn't like, you know, they don't want you, like the left was doing not that long ago, they don't want you standing outside big banks screaming, we are the 1%.
Yeah.
I mean, we are the 99%.
Yeah.
Sorry, got that wrong. But like that's not what they want. But they're quite happy for you to talk about transgender bathrooms. They're like, yeah, that's a really important fight. We'll put tons of money behind that fight. Make sure you focus on that, because that'll really divide people, get them fighting, and nothing matters. And we keep raking in profits.
But they can't.
But the craziest thing to me, and this is what makes me so frustrated with like the fucking left-wingers, is it's like they don't even realize they took this bargain. They're not even aware that they took it, and they got nothing for it. It's like these fucking bankers. It's not even like, you know, like wouldn't it'd be one thing if like let's say Goldman Sachs was like, hey, you know, we care about these issues too, or something, and you know, seeing as how we have a little bit of pull in Washington D.C., like a little bit, we're gonna kind of lobby them to like, you know, like maybe like not lock up as many black kids for nonviolent crimes. You know, we're gonna put some pressure on them to like not like, you know, throw fucking black kids in jails at insane rates for no reason. It's not like they were like, hey, we're gonna put $1 billion toward a fund of like, you know, gay kids who are kicked out of their house by their parents to like help give them a place. No. We'll give you a float. That's all you got for it. For your silence, for your forgetting about the fact that the big banks are raping all of us, you got a dumb fucking dildo float. That's what you traded it for. Great job, left-wing America.
Yeah, you get Biden, you get corruption. They're more corrupt. They used to be like anti-war, free speech, and now they're pro-war, anti-speech, and then the followers seem to just be accepting it and like cheerleading it. Well, we need to censor these certain people who are dangerous when they talk online and shit. And it's like, you're dangerous. Like, you're the one creating all this mis and disinformation, and it's so obvious, and they get caught lying 1 million times, and you still trust them. Yeah,
well, you know, like, there's propaganda works.
I need to figure it out.
That's why it's used so much, you know? I mean, it's very effective. And, like, kids today are, like, they're, especially the people who've been through, like, the universities, I mean, there's just a tremendously propagandized generation. I mean, much more so than almost anything. First off, it's more sophisticated propaganda because we've had years to learn and get better at it. And, you know, if you think about it, it's like it's very unique to our time that you have, let's say, kids who grew up, but basically for almost all of human history, in almost every society, kids were growing up with family units. Not even this like nuclear family idea is almost like a post World War II almost like invention that never really existed. You were growing up with family units. I mean, extended families. You know, like people all around. Yes, like aunts and uncles and cousins and grandmothers and huge families. Had 8 kids. 7 brothers and sisters. Your mom and dad and your whole family there together. So you were kind of like raised by that. You know, and then you would go into the workforce when you graduated high school. And now, but I'm saying most societies, I'm saying that was America particularly, but most societies, you were governed your entire life by religion, which, you know, you could argue is its own form of propaganda, but you were governed by kind of like religion and service and nation and all these things. And then today, it's like these kids are growing up with, they're quite often single moms, literally no one else. No extended family in the picture, completely, isolated from that. They are at outrageous rates on psychotropic drugs for their life, like just insane. Just giving speed to kids and just insanity.
Yes.
And then they get put into after high school, even after going through K through 12. You go, no, you need another 4 years of in-depth. You move into it. You leave your family and just go and get this insane level of propaganda. And like, I know college professors. My sister's a college professor. All her friends are college professors. Like, I know that world. I'm not even saying, it's not that they're bad people. They themselves are caught in it and they believe in it. You know, it's like this college professors are very weird job, because these people, like, they went to school, they went to preschool and never left.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, they went to preschool through 12th grade, then they went to college for 4 years, then they said, I'm gonna go to grad school, then they said, I'm gonna get my PhD, and then they said, I'm gonna teach at this school. Their whole life is school.
They've
and
never gone in the real world.
They're so insulated, and then there's this tremendous, like, resentment toward business, because businessmen make so much more money than them, and they produce things that are of value, and they produce nothing. Except, like, they are literally, like, I mean, I'm not, like, I love my sister to death. She's crazy smart. She's a great person. But there's so many of these fields where it's like, you know, essentially, and it's almost like an open secret. They all know it. They're like, what can you do with a sociology degree? You can teach sociology.
Yeah.
Like, that's what you can do with it. You can go become a professor and teach it. It's like you're just like caught in this weird circular system of, and then because of a lot of weaknesses of the left inherently, they were just like completely they were completely declawed to fight against wokeism. And as this rise came up, it just took over the university system. And so many of them did not believe in it, but are terrified to say anything about it. Like, there's so much of this stuff that, you know, like, a lot of them don't fucking believe in, but they're not gonna say that. They would never say it publicly because they're terrified. And by their nature, college professors are not like, they don't tend to be like the tough ones who are willing to take the arrows. They're usually very high IQ, but very low in terms of like disagreeable, you know what I mean? Like, that's why the Jordan Petersons or something like that are such an exception. Yeah. Like the one college professor who's, right, guys like that. But so anyway, this whole thing just took over, and now it's like really like they're like, universities are complete propaganda machines now. People come out with all types of like these social and political views that cannot stand up to basic scrutiny. Like the most basic scrutiny. They could not defend these ideas, but no one ever pushes them on it. They've completely removed any type of like, it's essentially illegal to have a counter opinion there, and so no one has the other opinion there, and so it never gets challenged, and it builds up into this whole thing, and then we're like, we live in a patriarchy, fucking all this, you know, goddamn garbage.
Yeah.
It's just, and then, you know, that's what's been interesting now with the rise of the internet, is that so many of these right-wingers, who I don't really agree with on a lot of shit, but like Ben Shapiro, just became famous simply by going to these fucking university kids and just demonstrating that these ideas get eviscerated. Like, it's not even just like, oh, like, he made a better point than you. It's like, your thing is so stupid. How the fuck have you been studying this for 4 years? This is the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my fucking life. Like so much of it. The whole like fucking, I mean, obviously all the gender fucking ideology stuff. It's just like, and again, I'm not saying like, don't be a dick to people, okay? That's a good rule of thumb in life. Don't be a fucking dick to people. But the idea that there is no biological reality to sex is like the stupidest fucking idea ever, and everyone knows it's bullshit.
Right.
And yet it's dominant. Right. It's the dominant ideology that everyone knows. I'm sorry. There's two groups of people. There's everyone who knows that it's bullshit, and then there's insane people. Those are the two groups of people. And then a whole bunch of everyone who knows it's bullshit are pretending they don't know that. But it's like a real like you remember the Emperor Has No Clothes story? It's like some shit like that. It's like everyone knows, but it's still become the dominant thing, and just no one's willing to call it out, or no one there is willing to call it out.
Yeah. My daughter just graduated college. She's 23. She's killing it. She has a job in a leadership program at a major institution right now.
Oh, that's awesome.
But she's we have these discussions. How are we?
Well, it's 12 now. I just wanted to check if.
Let's wrap it up here in.
I got to run down in a sec.
Yeah. So she's trying to explain to me why being fat is actually healthier. Or
it's like ideas like this actually persist. Yeah, fat is really healthy. Yeah. That's what all the data says.
Exactly. And I'm trying to be gentle with her, but we have really good lively debates, and she's reasonable, but she is caught in these weird idea streams where she's trying to find the proper argument to make her viewpoint legit, but it doesn't make any sense. And I think that's a lot of
it can be tough. It's I remember because I was a liberal my whole life, and when I first got introduced to libertarianism, I do remember the feel. It's a tough feeling to have your entire worldview shattered, and you realize you're like, oh my God, I've been wrong about everything. Is a very difficult thing. I remember that being kind of painful.
It kind of happened to me with I joined the Iraq War based on weapons of mass destruction,
right, yeah.
And then you slowly find out it was for oil and profits, and I went to a war, and I for that belief, and it was propaganda to me that I fell for, and they're falling for their own version of it.
Yeah, there's a whole generation of people like you. I talk to a lot of them, vets who are like, yo, I was fucking tricked into some pretty awful shit.
Yeah.
And it's just a goddamn tragedy.
It is.
30,000 of them have fucking blown their brains out over this shit.
And we work with people. We sponsor men's mental health awareness type.
No, it's great.
Things,
yeah.
Foundations and shit. But we're trying to do good in the world. You are doing great stuff. You're entertaining a lot of people, informing them, making them laugh. You have a new special out, the Dave Smith special.
30 Minutes with Dave Smith. Go check it out.
And Libertas is always good to
Thank
rewatch.
you very much.
Huge fan. Thank you for coming on.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
And I would love to do it again sometime.
Fuck yeah, absolutely, brother.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for coming on. Dave Smith, legend, future president one day.
No, please, don't sentence me to that.
Thank you, and we'll be back next week. Peace.